Between down there to here, she disappeared.
I had a feeling it was coming, and I've been preparing myself for it, waiting for them vehicles to pull up.
Alicia CHANTA Moore was born February 23, 1996. It seemed like a regular day on November 2nd, 2012. She left for the school that morning, and by the afternoon, she was scheduled to be dropped off by her school bus. Around 3:30 p.m., a surveillance camera inside the bus recorded Alicia stepping out of the vehicle. Alicia's great-uncle, Mike Wolford, was the only person at the house at the time of the day. He testified that he never saw her when Alicia did not return by 8 p.m. Her family started searching for her, reporting her missing to the police, and started posting flyers around town asking for help in locating her. 2 days passed, and on November 5, 2012, the Texas Department of Transportation workers found a black wicker trunk containing Alicia's nude body 3.5 miles north of Wills Point in Van Dant County. When her body was removed from the trunk, investigators found some very bad words written in spray paint on the bottom of the trunk. A backward-facing swastika was painted inside the trunk lid. Alicia's body showed multiple ligature marks around the neck, throat, and abrasions on her face and head. The justice of the peace who pronounced her death ordered an autopsy. The medical examiner performed the autopsy at 7:30 p.m., November 7, 2012. They determined that Alicia had been sexually assaulted and that her death resulted from strangulation. Samples of semen were recovered from Alicia's vagina and anus. Scleral hemorrhages in Alicia's eyes indicated that she was alive when she sustained her injuries. Alicia's anus area was abnormally dilated and showed small abrasions consistent with sexual assault. Redness surrounding the injuries indicated a high likelihood that Alicia was alive when she sustained trauma to her private areas. Her injuries were also fresh, evidence that the trauma to her private area happened shortly before her death. On the day that Alicia disappeared, she was living at 1900 Gibbons Street with her 5 adult family members: her mom, Aretha Moore, her grandmother, Deborah Moore, her aunt and mother's sister, Jessica Bird, Jessica's husband, Kenneth Bird, and the great-uncle, Michael Wolford. Alicia also had another great-uncle by the name of Michael Moore. He was the brother of her grandmother. He had returned from California to Grand Prairie, Texas, to help take care of his father. He came down to visit his Greenville relatives every other weekend. He appeared to have a warm relationship with Alicia. He was teaching her to bake, he took her to the store, and he also bought her presents. On at least one occasion, he took Alicia to Grand Prairie for a visit with Sheila, another relative. None of the family observed anything inappropriate in their relationship. DNA samples were collected from Kenneth Bird, Michael Wolford, and her great-uncle, Michael Moore. DNA samples were also obtained from Tobias Whetstone, who was Alicia's boyfriend. Others tested included Joseph Warmke, Jacob Allen, and Robert Bell. All contributors tested were eliminated as possible contributors to the sample from Alicia's body, except for her uncle, Michael Moore. Michael Moore was not immediately arrested. Texas Rangers obtained and executed search warrants for Michael Moore's house and car. An analysis of the various items seized yielded nothing connecting him to Alicia's murder. They also obtained his cell phone records, which showed significant gaps in usage on the day of her disappearance and on the day her body was discovered. No fingerprints could be obtained from the wicker trunk where Alicia's body was found. When Alicia didn't come home, Alicia's family knew something was wrong because she never had trouble such as running away from home. Alicia was a quiet girl, and nothing in her room was gone or suspicious in any way. A friend of the family said the following: "I feel like, personally, the police really dropped the ball." Alicia's family had questions as to why the police did not go to the public about her being missing sooner than they did. Along with feeling they waited too long, the family would like to know why an Amber Alert was not issued immediately. Police claim that when a child who is 16 years old goes missing, it is difficult to decide if the child has run away or is really in trouble or has just forgotten to tell the family where he or she is. Police said they are limited on what they can do because Hunt County is just outside of the Dallas Amber Alert area's regional program, and that in order to issue an alert, it must be established that the child is missing against their will. Dan Buskin said he was not able to determine that Alicia was taken against her will. School officials said that they tried to locate Alicia using her school-issued iPad. They were unable to do that since the iPad had been reset and was considered untraceable at that point. Alicia's aunt had put a notice on Facebook asking people to help identify the person who was walking behind her as she exited the bus. This person could be the only clue to finding out what happened to Alicia. Alicia's family said that she had dreams to go to college and to become an actress, and her aunt had made a plea to do the right thing, turn yourself in. That's all we ask you to do so we can get some sort of peace from this situation. We're not here to judge you. That's not our job. That's God's job. Either someone threatened her to come with them or she was approached by someone she trusted. On November 10, 2012, a crowd of hundreds of people marched in memory of Alicia. From Grand Park to the very intersection where Alicia got off of the bus, the crowd shouted, "I am Alicia, no justice, no peace." The crowd marched past the home where Alicia lived and then back to the park where police were going to talk about a program aimed at keeping children safe. Most of the crowd wore purple, Alicia's favorite color. In May of 2013, Michael Vincent Moore, who was 57 years old at the time, was arrested at home and charged with capital murder in the death of his niece, Alicia Moore. Michael had been interviewed after the death of Alicia, and he had this to say at that time: "No one's been caught yet. We're still waiting for answers, and that's really hard on us. It hurts sometimes, but I'm over it now, and it's time to rejoice. You know you've got to get over it and move on." In a jailhouse interview, Moore denied that he had anything to do with his niece's death and claimed that she was addicted to sex.
"Oh, I didn't murder Alicia. I loved Alicia. I wanted to help her. She had some mental problems, and I wanted to help her because she had some sexual problems. She was addicted to sex."
In a jailhouse interview, Moore tells me he has been through this before, claiming he was a suspect in a California murder, a case he claims another man was ultimately convicted of. Moore tells me local police zeroed in on him from the beginning.
I wasn't surprised when they came because I told them. I wasn't surprised when they came to arrest me. No, I wasn't.
Moore claims to have an alibi. He tells me he was in Grand Prairie with his dad the day the 16-year-old disappeared.
Yeah, it was November 2nd. I believe it was a Friday because I was home that Thursday and Friday. My car was broken down, so I didn't fix my car until Saturday.
Sources say DNA links Moore to the murder. Moore claims if that's their evidence, it was planted.
Now, they're talking about they found my DNA on her body. That's a bold-faced lie.
DNA found on Alicia's body matched that of her uncle, Michael Moore. He attended her memorial service with the family and was described as being an intimate part of Alicia's life. Many family members are still not convinced that Moore had anything to do with Alicia's death, referencing him as being homosexual, but a jury thought otherwise. Michael Moore was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. We want to send our condolences to the families of Alicia Moore and pray for those that may be going through a similar situation out in the world today. Please join me in protecting our girls. This is Awareness by Creole Kisses. Be safe and have a good night.